Do you want milk with your coffee? There's a bottle in the back of the fridge.
I prefer it without milk, but with some sugar.
Oh, I'm afraid there isn't any sugar.
Well, that's okay. Black coffee is good too. Do you have any of those great cookies?
Oh, yes. There are some cookies over here.
Peter speaking. What? An audition? No, not at all. I'm free. Great. Bye. Well, finally, an audition.
Wonderful. When?
Next Monday at the Opera Theater. These cookies are fantastic. Are there any more?
There are some more in the box.
Thank you. Bye, Anne. Time for music.
Hey! Take your dirty napkin away from my kitchen. It's nice to have you as my new office neighbour.
Hi again. Anne's a bit difficult, isn't she? Yeah. Now, this is a lesson about some and any. Remember, Peter said, "Can I have some coffee and some biscuits?" Well, I want to talk to you about that right now. Now, in order to understand some and any, we have to understand the difference between countable objects and uncountable objects. So, these things here are ingredients to make a wonderful English lemon cake. Let's divide them into countable objects and uncountable objects. Let's start with these. Now, these are lemons. Countable means you can count them. Uncountable means you can't count them. Can you count these? Yeah, 1, 2. So these are countable. So there are some lemons. Now, what about these? These are nuts. Can you count these? Yeah, 1, 2, 3, etc. So they are also countable. So we say there are some nuts on the table. Now, what about this? This is marmalade. Now, can you count marmalade? Well, you can count the container, but not the marmalade inside. So this is uncountable, and we say in English, there is some marmalade. It's a singular verb. So we put it here, it's uncountable. Okay? Now, let's look at this. What's this? This is salt. Salt. Now, is this countable or uncountable for you? Countable or uncountable? Well, it is very difficult to count all the little bits of salt, so this is uncountable. We put it here, all right? Now, next thing, these two, eggs. Countable, uncountable, 1, 2, countable. There are some eggs. This here is spices. Spices. Now, these you can count. So we say there are some spices. What about this? Milk. You can count the bottle, but can you count the liquid? No. So all liquids are uncountable, and we say there is some milk. There is some milk. So singular verb. Put that there. Now, what have we got here? Butter. Butter. Can we count that? Well, we can count a packet, yes, but the butter inside? Exactly, no, we can't count butter. So there is some butter, we put it here. Good. Now, what else have we got? Flour. You know, flour we use to make pizza, to make cakes. Is that countable? Exactly, it's not countable. It's like salt, like sugar, like coffee. So we put this here, uncountable. And the last thing, this. What's this? Water. Is water countable? No, it's not. So water goes with the uncountable. There is some water. It's quite difficult, hey? Let's look at the screen to see that written, all right? And we will do a general summary. So we said countable objects in the plural. In the positive form, we say there are some lemons on the table. There are some CDs on the table. There are some eggs on the table. So that's countable. Now the negative is there aren't any. We use any. There aren't any cigarettes on the table. There aren't any biscuits. Important. Any for the negative. There aren't any magazines, for example. All right? Now, questions. Here again, we use the word any. We use any in the negative and any in the questions. So, are there any glasses on the table? Are there any books on the table? Are there any pens? All right, so some in the positive, any in the negative, and the question form. Good. Now, let's move on to uncountable objects. These ones here. The examples are, there is, singular verb, some sugar on the table. There is some flour on the table. There is some water on the table. Okay? Negative, again, we use any. We say there isn't any bread on the table. There isn't any wine, a liquid, on the table. There isn't any chocolate on the table, all right? Questions, again, with the singular verb and any. Is there any money on the table? Is there any pasta? Unfortunately not. And is there any beer? Okay? Now, I want to add one more thing to this lesson, and it's the words this, that, these, those. Let me explain. With one object, you say this CD when it's close to you, this CD. But when it's distant from you, far away, you say that CD, this, that. All right? We hear this very often. Let me take two, plural. Now we say these CDs. When they're far from you, we say those CDs. Okay? So these, those, one, this, that. Let's see that on the screen. So this book, plural, these books when they're close to you, and that chair, for example, and those chairs when they're distant from you. That's a big lesson, hey? There's a lot to remember. So we have some and any, countable and uncountable, this, that, these, those. Whew! You have a lot to do at home to study there. Anyway, no problem, because you're great students. So we'll meet again in the studio very soon for some more English. Take care. Bye for now.